Hey girls and boys, it's Mr. McAndrew, the math coach. So doing lots of subtraction this week. And today we're going to do some fun stuff with it. But before we get into that, I wanted to continue to talk just briefly about sometimes there are problems that you don't even need a paper and pencil to solve. Because sometimes it's faster to do it in your head. And sometimes you don't even have a piece of paper and pencil. So a problem like this, what I want you to notice is that both numbers are pretty close to a multiple of 100. So for example, 802 is pretty close to 800, right? And 594 is pretty close to 600. So our answer should be around 200. But that's also important because remember, I'm thinking about, remember we can use addition to help us with subtraction, which I know is sounds funny, right? But if I can count up from 594 to 802, then I've found the difference between the two numbers, and I found my answer to the subtraction problem. So I could think of it as so how far is it from 594 to 600? Well, it's pretty close. It's only a difference of 6, right? So that's 6. And 802, right, back to 800 is just 2. Okay, so then between 600 and 800, I've got 200. So that's 206 plus 2 more is 208. So that should be my answer. Okay, so if I go ahead and I do this out using the algorithm, I can't take 4 from 2. I go next door to my tens place. There's nothing there. I go to my hundreds place. I can regroup that into becoming 7 hundreds and giving the 10 tens here. Okay, and then I take one of those tens and I give it to the ones place to make 10 ones to make it 12 ones. 12 minus 4 is 8, 9 minus 9 is 0, and 7 minus 5 is 2. So that took some time, right? But if you can just do it mentally, all right, it might help. So real quick, the way I was thinking of it is 594, I just hopped up 6 to 600. Okay, then I hopped up a lot, went way up by 200 to get to 800. And now I just have 2 more to get to 802. So I know that the answer should be 6 plus 200 plus 2. That's 208. All right, so just something for you to think about. Nothing for you to do right now, but something for you to think about. Okay, in your math packet, there's a paper called The Tallest Buildings in the World. Take it out, please. And I'll see you in a second. All right, so boys and girls, a little project here for you to learn about some of the tallest buildings in the world. I thought it might be more interesting if we were adding and subtracting using some real-world interesting examples. Okay, so in your Google slide, there is a link to a Wikipedia page that has a bunch of information about the tallest buildings in the world, which I will show you in a minute. I'm going to read through this kind of quickly, just so you know what it is exactly that you're expected to do, and then you can go ahead and do it. Okay, so number 1 says, what is the name of the tallest building in the world? Well, you're like, I don't know, Mr. McAndrew, what is it? So you click on your link that's on the Google slide. It'll bring you to a website that looks like this. List of tallest buildings. Okay, it'll say off to the side, it'll say Wikipedia. Okay, so if you scroll down, it'll give you eventually a list of all of them, starting with the first one. So here's the first one. I don't know how to pronounce that. Burj Khalifa, maybe? Okay, so you'd write that down. All right, and then we'll go back to the paper. It says, how tall is it in feet? So on the website, okay, it's going to give you the height in meters and in feet. Right there, it says FT. That means feet. So you would write down 2,717 on your paper. Okay? And then it says, how tall is the second tallest building, well, here's the second tallest building. All right, and again, it gives it to you in feet. Okay, 2,073. All right. Then it says if you put the tallest building in the world, here we'll go back to this. It says if you put the tallest building in the world on top of the second tallest building, whoa, how tall would they be in total? Okay, so you can show your work right here and then put the answer right here. Okay. Number 5 says, how much taller is the tallest building than the second tallest? Okay, so how much taller? In other words, what is the difference in height between the two? So one is maybe like this tall and one's a little bit, it's like taller, right? So you want to find how much taller is it. So in order to do that, you're not going to add them. You're going to do what? You're going to need to subtract, okay, to get the difference. All right, and again, be sure to show your work right here. Okay? All right, on the next page. By the way, you can do this video one of two ways. You can watch the whole video and then go back and do it. Or after I go over each question, you can pause the video, answer the question, and then keep playing the video. Okay? All right, number 6 says, look at the other super tall buildings. Besides the tallest, which one is your favorite? All right, so if I go over here, there's a bunch of cool buildings here. All right, so you're going to pick one. All right, and you're going to write down, ooh, like I really like this one, Tianjin CTF Finance Center in Tianjin, China. So maybe you want to write that one down. Or maybe you want to write down, there's a lot of them in Asia. Central Park Tower in New York City. Right? Or this was a cool one. Look at that. That's in Lakta Center, St. Petersburg. That's in Russia. Okay? So just pick whichever one you like. And then write down, it says, how tall is your favorite building in feet? So again, there's two numbers. The feet is this one right here. It's always the bigger number. Okay? It's always like in the thousands. So you'd write that down. Okay? All right. And then number 8 says, the average height of a house is about 19 feet. That's if there's like 2 stories, like a top and a bottom. Okay, if it's 1 story, it might be more like 10 feet. How much taller is your favorite building than the average house? It's going to be like so much bigger, like crazy times bigger. But all you have to do is figure out how much taller, okay, it is. So again, we're finding the difference. If a house is this tall, then the super tall building would be like way up here, right? Way up here. Okay, so you want to figure out the difference between the tallest building, which you already figured out on, which you already know from the previous page, right? Over here, it says how tall is the tallest building in feet, right? And then you want to subtract from that 19 feet to figure out what's the difference to get how much taller is it than the average house. Maybe a building that something like you're living in, okay? All right, and then the last one says, the tallest building in the United States is One World Trade Center in New York City. It is 1,776 feet tall. The tallest building in Philadelphia is One Liberty Place, and it is 945 feet tall. How much taller is One World Trade Center than One Liberty Place? Okay, and I want your answer in feet, and then please show your work down here as always. Okay? All right, boys and girls, so have fun with this, right? The idea is to do some adding and subtracting with something that's a little bit more interesting than just, numbers. And also to get an idea of like, wow, some of these buildings and skyscrapers are just truly, truly amazingly tall. Okay, so enjoy, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye.